Hello and welcome to the latest and newest installment of the Patreon review series. Today we're going to be talking about Beasts of the Southern Wild for AJ Lancaster. Now, I am in the middle of a move. This wall right here will be covered in art very soon. I am moving right now, but I wanted to make sure I got some Patreon and some review work done for y'all because you don't want to leave a YouTube page empty, and I want to make sure I keep up with my patrons. Now, AJ Lancaster has curated an incredible array of very challenging films. He kicked me off with The Congress, which is a brilliant mindfuck of a movie that feels like doing drugs. And then he pushed me over towards Southland Tales, which I'd always wanted to see, and also feels like doing drugs, but has this incredible prophetic nature about it while also being chaos. It's an amazing movie that's an allegory for allegorical concepts. It's dense, it's brilliant, and now Beasts of the Southern Wild, which is living up to every one of my lofty expectations. Now, Beasts of the Southern Wild is a beautiful, whimsical, nihilistic tale. It's got these incredible overtones of oppression and heavy-natured foreboding, while somehow being this whimsical, childlike sense of wonder. It's such a strange movie to try to quantify, in that I can understand everyone's perspective while understanding that I'll never experience this perspective. Now, a lot of times in American cinema, there's a looking down upon of impoverished culture. There's a snootiness. There's a judgment inherent to the concept of poverty. And I think that's partly our capitalistic society, but it's also, our pull yourself up by your bootstraps and achieve wealth and all these concepts. And that wasn't in this film. There was a beautiful simplicity while also acknowledging the difficulties in poverty, but it never felt like it was coming from a place of judgment. It felt like it was coming from a place of experience. And I really appreciated the fact that this movie didn't feel like it was looking down at poverty. It felt like it was looking on line with poverty. It was looking at a really rough situation from the situation. So I really was impressed at that new perspective this film brought. And then a lot of the whimsy is obviously from the incredible Oscar, very well-deserved nominated performance of, I do not know how to pronounce her name, all apologies, I don't want to get it wrong, but the lead actress who played Hush Puppy blew me away. It makes sense. She's had a nonstop career ever since, and it makes sense that she beat out 4,000 other actresses. She also, her parents lied and said she was 6 when she was actually only 5 when they were filming, which is just incredible. This 5-year-old gave this performance that was equal parts grounded and fun and whimsical and bright, but real. And whenever she was having those daydreams about those boar cattle, which I want to talk about in a little bit, you felt this almost Terry Gilliam-esque escapism while also seeing they were scary, but they were also reassuring. And the scene near the end when they bowed to her was so powerful, because we didn't know what was going to happen after this long chase with these boars that represented so much. They represent, to me, I don't know, I didn't write the film, but to me they represented adulthood and the end of days and money, and money in the sense of things that were tangibly consumable, not necessarily cash money, but escape, but also the end of things. And I love that use of storytelling, and I got a lot out of the in-world, out-of-world storytelling narrative structure, where we weren't quite sure what reality was in this film, and I really liked that. I also got to give some love to Wink, who was just so paternal while also being terrifying. His paternal nature came through often, but then you were broken by the fact that the little girl only wanted to be held, and she'd only been held twice, and that whole sequence about her loving that feeling and only having experienced it twice was just so powerful. But you weren't sure how to feel about him for the entire runtime of the movie, and that was a fascinating choice for a second lead. I loved the pathos of the character. I loved him just trying to survive while also taking care of his kid. I loved his redemption by putting her in the bus, which felt like, you know, heartbreaking from her perspective, but understandable as an adult for ours. It's a really interesting movie, and it's full of a lot of broad concepts, and it's full of a lot of heart. I felt a lot better after having watched the movie, and it's a dark movie. It's interesting how you can finish something that's just so heavy and it makes you feel light. And especially in these times where everything's so uncertain, just the freedom and the fun of what, you know, this culture in the bathtub was able to do for fun, and like how they ate and how they survived and all those things. And it was really beautiful to immerse yourself in another world for, you know, an hour and 45 minutes, or the runtime I think is like an hour and 33 minutes. Anyway, it was a really incredible journey of a movie, so I highly recommend it. I personally gave it a B+. I think that its pacing was wonderful because you felt immersed. I think its directing was incredible because you felt like I said at the top, like you were seeing side to side with these people, and it's a world that a lot of us will never understand. I think all the performances were absolutely insane, and I think that it is a really special piece of cinema. So if you haven't seen Beasts of the Southern Wild, please do check it out. It is a very special film. It is a very unique film. It is a very powerful and emotional film, and it is a career starter for the two leads, and that is very well deserved. Now let's talk about those two leads. I was super impressed with the little girl who went on to play Annie in Annie. Zane Wallace. I'm gonna call her Miss Wallace because I'm not sure how to say the Q. It is a beautiful name, and I should know how to say it. All apologies to Miss Wallace. But she went on to be in Annie as Annie, very well deserved to be in a tentpole film like that. She was also in 12 Years a Slave very soon after this film in 2013, which would have made her like 7 or 8, which is just insane. She's been on Blackish for a number of episodes. She is now on Swagger, which is a show I've never heard of until this point, but because of her, I am very curious about it. It's a 2020 show. I am fascinated by this young actress. She is so incredible. She has so much soul and experience and life behind her eyes that even in the moments of complete silence, you just wanted to know what she was thinking, and that's such an incredible thing for a 5-year-old at the time of filming to have. Now, Dwight Henry, who played Wink, I was also extremely impressed by, and he apparently turned down this role a number of times to focus on his bakery. When they were filming, or when they were scouting, there was a man who worked at a bakery, and they wanted him to audition, and then he disappeared for 2 months because he was working on his bakery. They found him, and then apparently the entire crew showed up to beg him to take this role, and now he has a career as an actor. Dwight Henry has gone on from this role that people begged him to do to be also in 12 Years a Slave. He was in Boo, he was in Curtis, he is in the upcoming Sexual Healing as Marvin Gaye Sr., which is a huge role to play Marvin Gaye's dad in the Marvin Gaye film. He's got 12 credits after this movie, which is just so cool that this movie was able to kick off careers like this, and it definitely, like I said before, absolutely deserved it. This was directed by a man named Ben Zeitlin. Ben Zeitlin has gone on to do a film called Wendy, which is coming out this year in 2020. I am not sure if that's going to get theatrical or, an at-home release with the current coronavirus stuff. But it stars a bunch of unknowns that I do not know as well. But if this man found these two powerhouse talents and the rest of the supporting cast, I'm very excited to see this film, to see his follow-up. It apparently came out April 17th, 2020, but again, it's hard to know what that means in coronavirus times. Some of the trivia for this movie is fascinating, obviously kicking off with the story of Wink and how he ended up going from bakery worker that really wanted to just work at his bakery to a full-blown incredible actor in big cinema. He's gone on to do such great things. On the very first day of shooting in the bathtub in New Orleans, the horrific BP oil spill happened, so they had to shoot around that. So they're making a movie about the bathtub flooding and ruining this culture, and then a real life event ruins the culture of the area they're filming, and that is such a it's like when Jim Caviezel, I don't know how to say his name, got struck by lightning while playing Jesus. There are some interesting side-by-side parallels to stuff, and this happening while they were filming is insane. Or all the Omen curse, all the things that happened to those actors, it's just some coincidences are just more fascinating than others. This is a horrific thing that happened to the environment, that happened while they were filming a movie about an environment getting destroyed. But once again, this movie has so much hope in it while so many horrible things are happening. I hope there's some of that around the healing of the BP oil spill, which is going to take another generation, but we're making moves on it. The Ben Zetlin, the director, gives considerable credit to Miss Wallace's mother, who was on set every single day. Obviously, that was a 5-year-old child who was always there to help bring the emotion and direct and help be a part of the process for the Oscar-nominated performance she gave as Hush Puppy, which is really, really cool. Now, this was my favorite fun fact. The mystical or mythical beasts, which Hush Puppy sees throughout the film, are called Aurochs, or occasionally Urus. Aurochs are an extinct ancestor of the bovine, like cows and oxen, and the last Auroch died in 1627. They inhabited forests of North Africa, Europe, and parts of Southwest Asia. It was an oxen in appearance. It looked like an oxen, and it had forward-facing horns, just like in the movie, and they think they're ancestors of modern cows. Now, I would have assumed it was some sort of wild boar. I would have assumed all those things. This is a cow esque relative, and that is fascinating to me, and that is so cool. So they were probably more that size, and they are a real creature that was a mystical creature in the film. I really loved that element of the movie. It was absolutely insane. We probably know this fact, but on January 10th, 2013, Miss Wallace became the youngest person ever nominated for Best Actress. She was 9 at the time. The youngest ever Best Actress nominee, which is absolutely insane. I can't fathom having that much talent at the age of 5, or to be recognized like that at the age of 9, and to go on and be a sane person. So many kid stars just don't, and she's in Annie, and she's in Blackish, and all these things, and it's just so freaking cool. And also, like, the people behind this movie, like, the fandom this created. When Oprah featured Beasts on a 1-hour TV show, Oprah revealed that it was Obama that told her about the movie, and that is just incredible. The people that found this film and the reach it was able to get. The movie sold to Fox Searchlight for $2 million. It's a very low-budget film, so that's an incredible career start for the director and the entire amount of talent involved. This movie has incredible ratings on every single review source. It's got a 7.3 out of 10 on IMDb. I'd rate it a little higher personally, but sometimes with hype, people praise a film and then people watch it and they inherently are like, that's not what I expected, and that happens. But an 87% Rotten Tomatoes, that feels more in line with my feelings towards the film. An 86% on Metacritic. It also did very well, in other critical circles and as well as box office. I really appreciated the film. I thought it was a very unique take on poverty, on the concept of fathers and daughters, on this really beautiful tone. It reminded me of Ondine. If you guys have never seen Ondine, Ondine has an amazing ability to feel both like a fairy tale and like a morality story that you don't know if it takes place in our world or another world. And I love when movies, because they inherently, like, when you see someone in live action, you immediately associate it with your live action life, and I think that's another thing that I loved about the Council, is that it's a live action film that then goes animated, so it distorts your reality. But with any live action film, your brain is automatically like, I know that world, I know those people, and that's what's really cool about movies that balance this fantasy and reality element, is your brain is able to make different parallels in storytelling to more magic. And I think Ondine has a sense of magic that Beasts of the Southern Wild shares, where you believe in these childlike wonders, and you believed in Hush Puppy's world, and you also understood Wink's world, and the whole thing's very painful, but there's so much hope, and that's all we can hope for in the real world. So I'm gonna leave it at that for this review. This one's a little shorter, the movie's a little shorter, and I highly recommend it. I want to do much more of these reviews. I'm going to try to keep them a little shorter because I feel like sometimes people just drop off when I ramble for an hour about a movie. So I'm going to try to keep these to 15, 20 as I originally planned for the Patreon only reviews. Next up, I'll be reviewing My Hero Academia Season 2 Part 1. I'm going to do the first chunk of My Hero Academia for Mr. John Getz, and then I'm planning on watching Death Note for Michael McCarcel. So I've got a lot of anime coming at you, which again, I really appreciate you guys expanding my pantheon of worldly exposure. Beasts of the Southern Wild, I might not have seen otherwise. I wanted to see it the year it got nominated, missed it, and that was 7 years ago, so I need to be watching these things. And I used to be a huge anime fan with Toonami, which is, you know, the most mainstream of anime, but I was a huge fan, so it's really cool to get back into. You know, I've heard a lot of good things about Death Note. I'm loving the hell out of My Hero, and I don't have a lot of free time, so it's kind of nice to be like, you gotta watch this thing. I'm like, I will watch this thing. So again, thank you all very much for being patrons. Thank you all very much for watching this on YouTube. Like, subscribe, all that jazz. Hopefully the next time you see me, there will be art here. If not, the time after that, I'm going to build and assemble all this as quick as I can, but I'm really excited to be in the new space. I'm excited to share all of the content with you. We're going to get to the point, I think, where we're doing nearly daily shows, and I'm pretty excited for that. So I'm going to figure out a new camera rig and microphone and all that jazz, so apologies for this being a little rudimentary, and I really hope AJ and I get to have a conversation about this film, because I really, really got a lot out of it. I want to know what he got out of it, because AJ's perspective on movies is always fascinating. He sees a depth of things that I'm always like, God damn, that is such a cool perspective. So, AJ, comment below. Let me know what your thoughts on this movie are and your perspective. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Appreciate y'all. I forgot my notes on the movie. Guys, I'm very tired. I've been moving and also trying to keep up with my work. This is going to be a normal, like, longer episode of review. I took notes throughout the film, as is tradition. That's how I do my reviews, and I forgot that entire segment. So I'm going to give you my notes that I enjoyed throughout the film and fill this review up to its normal capacity. All apologies. I am incapable of doing a 15-minute show. That is just apparently not my nature. Let's see what I thought of the film as I was watching it. All right. Love the documentary narrative style from the jump. I love how this film was shot. I love that it feels both like a narrative film and a documentary, and then building on that world of whimsy, which I talked about with Ondine. It feels like a documentary set within a world that's just beside our own, and I really, really like that. I love the beautiful naturistic film that the voiceover actually adds to. You feel like you're experiencing her world, and you feel like you're experiencing like a day in the life from her perspective, and it's almost like she's in your head because of the voiceover, and the voiceover never feels contrived. And it's also, I mean, I imagine that helped with child labor laws quite a bit, is you can shoot the film and then have a lot of the emotionality come out through the voiceover, and it gives you a kinship to her. You feel like she's in your head and you're with her in such a unique way. So this is one of those times that voiceover really, really works for film. All right, the little girl is absolutely adorable. I love how happy this world is, even with so little. Everyone has this glee to be alive, and there's so much happiness, even with so little resources, and that's a really incredible and important lesson. It made me appreciate my life so much, and I gotta thank this one for that. No, don't turn up the flame, get out of the house, I wrote as I saw the film going this direction. Oh no, I thought he was kidding. The intensity of that father-daughter scene. Oh good, he was, poor girl. I was really afraid we lost him, and then he actually was getting sick, and there was that bait and switch with his sickness in this moment that I was like, what's going on? What a world, sleep and hope the hurricane and flood stops. The scene where they're sleeping and he's telling her to stop looking at her and just get some sleep and just get some rest is such a brutal and important scene. I love that entire sequence, and it was one of the most powerful scenes I saw in this year of film. I look back at the movies this year, and I totally see why this got all the awards love. That was such an incredible scene, and so well acted by these two. And it's just what a message, what a moment of despair of what else are we gonna do? Just go to sleep. What a world, man. Okay, I love how she talks from animals' perspective. I love that her only maternal figure is that teacher, and the teacher tells her, take care of things smaller and cuter than you, and protect them. And she's talking consistently through the film, even, you know, later on with the eating of animals and stuff, she's talking from the animal's perspective in a really unique way. And that's so unique and also so childlike and wonderful. And I love the way she associates with animals and how animals feel like part of the world, and like that they weren't above or beneath them, they were with them. Again, the perspective of the film, very unique. Let's see. The end of the world already happened for the animals that drowned. That was such a cool concept. I love the little girl narrating what a broad idea. For these animals, the end of the world already happened. That's amazing. There's a weed whacker outside. I hope it's not too loud. We'll figure that out as we develop. Okay, we're gonna make camp right on top of the bathtub. I loved the rebuild. I loved we're gonna do what we can, and that's all we have. These are our only options. If if I could see the world that way, imagine we could all accomplish if you were just like, all right, this is the situation. Let's move along. And it's just such a delightfully unique perspective. The amount of times I've worried that dad is dead while he's been a harsh dad this whole time is impressive. I love that he was such a, he's got to make sure his daughter survives, so he's really harsh, but there's just such a unique nature about this dad that I keep worrying about him, even while I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Boar beasts, I wrote. Man, I appreciate grocery stores. Every time they killed an animal and ate it, I'm not a vegan or vegetarian by any means, but I definitely could not hunt and kill and eat my food. I don't have that in me. So this made me appreciate grocery stores where I buy the pre-killed meat. And again, I'm very appreciative of living in the world I do, because I am a little squeamish, and I admit that openly. Not for me. I'm not a blood and guts guy, and I respect the hell out of people that can handle it, and I'm not one of them. So thank you, grocery stores. The slow burn death of the bath is rough. I love the juxtaposition with this ominous, surreal boar narrative. The slow burn of the flooding with the speed and intensity of the boars, which I thought were boars, which I learned are more like cattle later on. But that whole sequence is man, this movie's just got so much really cool imagery. Watch this movie. I'm sure if you're watching this review, you've seen it, but the imagery is just, it's a lot. Her face tells so many stories. Again, I love the depth of her eyes. I didn't expect the story to go this way. Integrating her with this world, when she goes into the hospital system and when she goes into privatized care, did not expect the story to go that direction. It's just the starkness of fluorescent lights and that whole world coming in is unexpected for me. Her in the dress opposite her dad in the wheelchair is her in that really cherubic little frilly Sunday dress, and her dad's in the wheelchair dying, and everything we've just seen them go through in the first two acts. The dichotomy of that image, the juxtaposition of those two worlds is immediately jarring, and you wonder what's going to happen to her the rest of her life, and you worry for the father who has been rough this whole time. And man, when an animal gets sick here, they plug it into the wall. Seeing our world through her eyes is brutally captivating and just all too real. When an animal gets sick here, they plug it into the wall. Again, I love that human beings are just seen like any other animal to her, and animals are also important to her. It's not meant derogatorily. She's not saying people are animals. She's saying people are animals. And when they get sick, you plug it into a wall, and that is so fucking real. I'm so afraid of death, and this movie just handles that in a very unique way. Let's see, the bus scene. He is a good dad. I love the redemption scene. She brought the beasts, and they kind of cute. The beasts in that scene when they suddenly get humanized, not humanized, but made in a new perspective, a new way of seeing the beast. That sequence is my favorite in the film. What a hero's journey for this little one. She got to give him his Viking funeral. That Viking funeral sequence, I saw it coming because they set it up well, and it still broke me. It was still so powerful. Man, what a series of complicated feelings towards this man. Yeah, Little Beasts of a Big, Big Universe was my final note in this film, and a movie recommendation for AJ Lancaster beyond Ondine. I wrote down that he would dig American Honey. So if you liked this film, you might also like American Honey. It is another film from a unique perspective that really reshapes how you see another world. It's a very different world from this one, but it's also a very different world from our own. Check out American Honey, check out Ondine. Those are my movie recommendations for Mr. AJ Lancaster and any of the rest of you watching. Now this is going to be an interesting jump cut because I wrapped, so I might put this in the middle of this, but I might put it in later. Who knows? This is the first time I've forgotten to include my notes in one of these videos. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.